Well, we've officially made it to Alabama. It's myself, Ted, behind the camera, Logan, back seat, and we're gonna try to hunt some whitetails down here. We got in late last night and it was just absolutely pouring. So we just pulled our trailer into the campground, slept real quick, got up this morning, went into town, got some hunting license, and now our next mission for the day is just to kind of cruise around. This is the same area that we turkey hunted, so we have a little bit of an idea. I mean, we've essentially scouted it in a way while we were turkey hunting, so we have a couple areas in mind that we want to go check out. The one thing about this specific piece is there's a lot of access on it. There are access paths to pretty much every nook and cranny of this piece. It's just a matter of finding the one that people aren't going to be able to get down. I think that's going to be kind of the key to our success here on this trip. There was just a gun season. I think it ended a couple days ago, so there has been, you know, an increase in pressure, but hopefully now that it's bow season again for the next week or so, that there won't be that many people in here bow hunting, but we're gonna find out. I have no expectation at all. We're looking to shoot a deer. We got a tag that is good for multiple deer. We can get buck or doe. We're excited to be here. Hopefully the weather's not too bad. We're a little bit concerned about all this wet because it's just been raining like crazy, but we're gonna go cruise around, have a little bit of fun today, and hopefully find some good spots to kind of key in on and you know, maybe bump into a deer here or there. What do you guys think?
Sounds good to me.
Let's do it. Doe right there, man. Just barely on private.
Those deer are so small compared to that.
Oh yeah. You want her? Well, we got a deer spotted. That's pretty exciting. That gets me a little bit fired up. See the shredding there on the ground. All right, so we're sitting here, and this place is kind of what I guess I'm expecting the deer are gonna be in based off what we saw during turkey season. There's a little secondary point right there, and it meets back up with taller pines. There's a lot of places where these old clear-cut areas where the pines are starting to grow up. There's a little bit of that, I guess, taller yellow grass, kind of looks like switchgrass, is growing between the pines. And grass is tall enough that the deer are bedding in there. At least that's what we found during turkey season. A lot of times right where those pines kind of fall off down the hill and meet up with the hardwoods, that's where the deer are gonna be bedding. So this is a perfect kind of example of the perfect growth, I would say. You know, pines are 15, 25 foot tall, and then the grass is about 3 to 5 foot tall. Probably tomorrow, the first thing that we'll do is kind of walk those transition lines looking for sign. I'll show you also what it looks like on the map. I'm gonna use an example on private land, but that transition line right there is the pine trees. Down there is the hardwoods. Right on the caps of those ridges where it starts to fall down into the hardwoods where the pines end, that's where we found most of the best consistent bedding, I guess, in this type of habitat and terrain. So keep cruising down through here, check out some of these access points, and then just probably gonna do that all day. It's gonna be a pretty fun day. Well, it's starting to get kind of dark on us here. Been driving pretty much the whole afternoon, just trying to check out as many of the places that we wanted to see as we could. And basically what we were doing is walking up and down these access paths. We weren't really sure how muddy they all were, so we were just looking for boot tracks, tire tracks, or deer tracks. And we actually ended up seeing more fresh deer tracks going across the access than we saw fresh tire tracks. There were older tire tracks where you could tell people were probably here a few days ago during the gun seasons before all the rain, but driving around most of the day today, we did not see a single hunter. Maybe a few people right on the border of public and private that could have been hunting, but not hardly any sign of humans today. I guess that's not overly surprising considering the gun season just ended, but it's also why we might be a little concerned of seeing deer on this trip. We're afraid if the gun season just kind of swept through, the deer are going to be on edge, but the good news is it looks like there are deer still present on the public. I think as we dive into some of these spots tomorrow, we're just going to keep narrowing down where we think the deer are going to be bedding and spending most of their time. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a challenge, that's for sure. We saw 2 deer the whole day driving around. Not what we're used to. We're allowed to go through there.
Yeah.
It actually scared me a little bit. Never know when they're just gonna swing a log on the road and crunch us. All right, guys, it's officially our first day of hunting, probably mostly scouting still, but rain finally broke. We had a lot of rain the last few days, even this morning. It was pretty much pouring all morning, and then it's finally broke. Sun's actually starting to pop out, but we've got what looks to be about 5 hours that we're gonna be able to get out and go try to see if we can find some sign. We ended up going into town last night and bumped into some locals that were in the area hunting, and they had shot a nice 7-point last night, and they pretty much said the 2 styles of hunting that they're doing is they're pretty much going through the woods, still hunting, looking for scrapes, and then when they find the scrapes and they feel like it's worthwhile setting up on, they eventually set up on it. One of the things that everybody down here has told me when I've talked to them about deer hunting is when you find the scrapes, then you're gonna find the bucks. It may be easier said than done, but we're gonna be cruising around the woods, main target looking for the scrapes. If we find a good scrape line, then we're gonna take note of it. We've still got 5 or so days that we're gonna be able to kind of revisit these areas. So first couple days of hunting, we're gonna be just cruising, covering a bunch of ground, hopefully bumping into some deer, but also just looking for that sign that we can come revisit in a couple days. I've got coffee too, so that's good. Southern coffee, man. I've said it always, like it's just a little bit different.
Better?
No, this stuff. Yeah. What do you guys think about Southern coffee?
I just stick to my Minute Maid.
Cool. Doing a lot of tree cutting around here.
Yeah.
Oh man. Checking all my arrows because I shot at a bunch of squirrels. I think it's safe to say that we've got 3 straight ones, 1 bent one. That was a kill arrow there. Hit that one in the head.
A deer or a squirrel?
Well, good question. It was a squirrel. Pretty sure I shot a deer with this one. This one doesn't shoot well. That's our finisher.
One that could go pretty much anywhere.
No, it's just not as like a real consistent arrow. You ever have one of those?
Yeah.
It's like all your arrows are hitting here, and that's the one that's like here, and then the next shot it'll be there. It's never like here, but it's just like not perfect.
Yeah. Zach's looking for his release. I think it might be in the glove box.
What?
What are you looking for?
Oh, cool, Ted.
Oh, yeah.
Looking for my number 1 release. This is my backup release. I know it's in here somewhere, but I'm not I'm not like wanting to look for it for a real long time. You know, these are like day one of the season problems, but you've hunted this much and your life's so scattered. It can also be last week of the season problems. Let's go. I got a release. There's a fresh track right there that I just saw. You see this?
Ooh.
And these must be our tracks from yesterday.
Those weren't there yesterday.
What weren't?
Those tracks.
Deer tracks.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, those are today. Like probably within the last couple hours, considering it's been pouring rain all day.
Yeah.
Let's go spook them. We just got up here, not that far from the road, to be honest. It's just super thick. But the mission for today is, like we've been talking about, to come down through here, just kind of scout our way through these target areas, I guess. And this piece is just super thick. As you can tell, we're in like, just like the thickest stuff ever. To get a bow shot off in here would be almost impossible. I think your limit's gonna be about 15 yards. What we're doing is the same thing that we would be doing in Iowa or any Midwestern state. We're walking a transition line. On one side of me here is the pines, planted pines, really narrow section of pines that's got just all different types of low brushy vegetation growing in it. On the other side of us is we've got kind of the open creek bottom. We're walking right on the transition to where those pines fall down into that creek bottom. There's a hard transition line there. We got up here and we just found relatively fresh rub and then a scrape. What we're probably gonna do, pin this on the map, take this trail down, just see where it leads to. It's kind of encouraging because it's the same thing we look for in Iowa. It's just different type of vegetation, but signs still in the same place. I mean, we always talk about the situation's different, but you know, kind of the same principles of bedding stay the same. Alabama, could you lay off on the rain a little bit? We're trying to do some hunting and filming. And now we're getting into these scrape lines. We got a rub over here. We got a heck of a trail. Boy, I'm talking, if the rain would ever quit, maybe we will see a doe fawn. Yeah, that sucks. Hopefully it's just like a quick wave. Ted and I just had a little discussion about, you know, what we could learn from that tree stand and where we found the bulk of the sign back there. We just started to come up out of the main creek bottom, so where there's the biggest chunk of hardwoods, and we got back up into one of these smaller, little narrow creek channels in between the pines, and we ran into another tree stand. Both places where we found these tree stands are these narrow creek channels where we think the deer are bedding on either side. These are fresh stands. Guessing these guys were probably in here hunting during the firearms season that just ended a couple days ago. And I think we can learn from where these, you know, assuming they're local guys, are hunting. We were just starting to narrow it down, like maybe it's where these small little creek channels, we can find multiple little creek channels that flow into the big creek channel. If we can find an area like that that's not been pressured, you know, maybe that's going to be the ticket. And we were just trying to go up to check out another spot like that. Ran into this tree stand. It's just kind of clarifying that these smaller creek channels are probably where the deer are going to feel the most comfortable. You know, down those bigger channels, there's probably more hunting pressure down there in general during gun seasons and stuff like that, just because you can see further. But it's pretty interesting. I mean, we're just trying to learn from every little bit of info we can. And back out of here, get back up to the car, and then kind of target different areas. Basically looking for little narrow creek channels that are hard to get to. That's what we're going for at this point. Going across right now. Dang it. Dude, holy cow. Dude, and that's, okay, so now we're officially on the south side of of that stuff that we were seeing those deer on this morning. You know what I'm talking about? Where we saw the deer yesterday first thing, and then on the way in when the rain stopped this morning, those deer were standing on the road.
Yeah.
Same spot. Just different.
So you're saying that's the spot?
I'm saying like we need to really, that's why I wanted to come over here, and we just got lucky and saw a big buck.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're driving down here, came over to this spot that we've been seeing some deer on the south side of this piece. I remembered this private land around it being really good, and it kind of having some different habitat diversity that the rest of this public piece didn't have. And we came back here this evening right at last light and just happened to catch a nice buck going into the public from private, and there was a whole bunch of deer behind him. Couldn't really tell what the other deer were, but he was a nice buck, like one that we're really excited about seeing. Sadly, we didn't get any footage of him. They're on the road for 1 second, they're off in another second, but big buck spotted. No one exists in the area. We're gonna go back, get Logan, get something to eat, and then we'll be back after him tomorrow.